Is This a Great Game or What? With the Hall of Famer Tim Kurkjian. I'm his son, Jeff Kurkjian. And Dad, I love your quarter zip today. That was something I bought you when we were at Little League World Series. That's a pretty cool jacket. I just got to start by saying that. I feel like I comment on what you're wearing in most podcasts to begin.
Yeah. Well, this is really cool, and it's really warm and it's getting a little cool, and with air conditioning in the house, it makes it even cooler. You know how cold I get. This was totally unnecessary to buy old Pop something else, but it's great. So thanks very much, Jeff.
Well, number one thing, if you're ever buying anything and your dad is Tim Kurkjian, it has to be warm. I don't care what month it is, what style it is. If it's a summer wear or a winter wear, make it warm. That's all he wants in life,
Jeff,
is to be warm.
It's a circulatory issue. I'm sure of it. There's no reason to be this cold all the time, but that's okay. Now, Jeff, what do you have coming up?
So tomorrow morning, when this podcast is live, right? So Tuesday morning, I will be going in for my first colonoscopy.
This is your first one ever?
Dad, I'm only 32.
Jeff, all right. I thought you had done this before. And how great is it? We had the greatest number 40 the other day. That's so fitting. How bad
Dad,
was that? How bad was that?
That was a pretty crappy joke. You know what I mean?
All right.
Dad, so I've been, I'm on the clear liquid diet right now all day today. So I'm actually drinking you can drink black coffee. So I just started drinking coffee like a year ago.
Right.
And I load that thing up with so much creamer you don't even know. And now I'm drinking it black, and I just hate it. But I need the caffeine to get through our episode today to be alive and present. I haven't eaten a single thing today. I'm already starving and exhausted. Dad, every time I come home from the radio job in the morning, I immediately eat lunch, and then I come downstairs and we record.
Are the lunches still prepared in your refrigerator?
Oh, they're still prepped. They're still there. They're ready for me when I arrive home from my colonoscopy.
How about the last Monday I was there, I ate 2 dishes, and one of those was Emily's, and you yelled at me.
Yeah, Dad, I said you can have a lunch. And then you ate 2 servings of lunch.
Look, Jeff, I weigh 137 pounds this morning. You're not going to give me a hard time for eating too much. I didn't know it was designed just for Emily.
Now, it was less that it was designed just for Emily. It was more that now Emily doesn't have 2 days of lunches more than 1 day of lunch.
Okay, I made a mistake, and I apologize.
No, you're okay.
You yelled at me, and
Emily
then Emily
at me.
yelled at you for yelling at me.
I said, Dad, only one, you ate 2. It was too late. And Emily said, you shouldn't have said anything to your dad. God knows he's helped us out along the way in life, and he's the best, and he's Pop. So you can eat as many lunches as you want. I just can't eat any today, which is a little bit
just
depressing.
A lesson on colonoscopies, okay? The night before is way worse than the procedure. The procedure is a piece of cake. They're going to knock you out. You're going to wake up. You're going to think they haven't even started yet. And as it turned out, they're finished. So it's going to be fine. They're not going to find anything, and you're going to be great, okay?
Let's hope for good news. That's all we can pray for. Dad, I know you've been freaking out about the Oriole game from the other night, right?
Yeah, well, let me explain the Oriole game the other night. So the Orioles are down 3-0 to the Dodgers, and Yoshi Yamamoto has a no-hitter going with 2 outs in the 9th inning. Down 3-0. They're 1 out away from losing the game and 1 out away from being no-hit, okay? So Jackson Holliday hits a home run, and they come back to win 4-3. So we went to Frank at the Elias, first team since 1961. That's as far back as we can accurately go to be 1 out away from losing the game and 1 out away from a no-hitter and come back to win the game. And so it's one of the greatest comebacks in Major League history. And of course, Jeff, it came on the same night that we celebrated Cal Ripken's 2-1-3-1. It was the 30-year anniversary. I wrote a really long story for ESPN.com to prepare everyone for what Saturday night would be like going back 30 years to 1995, that amazing night. Also on September 6th in Baltimore at Camden Yards, same date, Eddie Murray hit his 500th home run. So it's quite a night that night. And I swear, Jeff, 20, 30 close friends of mine, 30 friends of mine went to that game. And they all chimed in like, I can't believe we're watching this. I almost saw a no-hitter. It was the greatest comeback I've ever seen, most exciting game I've ever seen. This is why baseball is so beautiful. And then I went to church the next morning, Jeff, and a half a dozen people at church had been to the game. And get this, I didn't even get to watch it on TV because where was I?
Well, you were watching two grandchildren because Kelly, your daughter, and your son-in-law, Mark, were at a wedding in Atlanta. So you were busy watching them. You were full on pop-up.
Right. And Cat and I took care of the kids for the weekend. It was so good. It was so much fun. Age 4 and 2, they run you ragged, but we had the best time. But they were both asleep, Jeff, at the time that Jackson Holliday hit the home run. I had a moment to go watch the game on TV, but of course I couldn't. Would you explain, please?
You couldn't watch it on your TV? Why? Oh, because you were at Kelly and Mark's house.
Would you explain as a young person why an old man like me couldn't watch a game on TV?
Well, it's one of two reasons. I mean, they probably have cable now that it's football season, right?
They have the special football package that's not cable TV, correct?
Oh, so you couldn't watch it at all. But you also, Dad, it's not even an old man thing. It's impossible to operate another man's television. If I walked into your house right now at age 32, Dad, I don't think I could figure out your TVs, and I helped set them all up for you.
Jeff, why are we doing this? Why is it so difficult to turn on a television and watch it? I know this is obvious. This is part of the broadcasting issue that we have at ESPN and all over the country, all over the world. How do you get the games on TV? All I know is I had to watch. I couldn't even watch it on my phone. All I got was the update, and I'm watching Jackson Holliday home run. And now, of course, I'm saying, well, it's going to be a one hitter. And then I watched the whole thing happen. It was
Dad,
crazy.
I've been wanting to upgrade your cable package at your house for 150 years. And if you we just need to have a meeting, because is this a great game or what? We don't make a ton of money, but we make enough money to pay for another cable subscription for you and Mom so you can watch the games on your phone. I can watch any game that I would get at home on my phone on YouTube TV. Not an advertisement, but if they want to advertise with us, please come on down at any time. But Dad, I have to say something about this game that I'm just now realizing. And you and I are making a Bo Jackson level mistake right now on this podcast.
Go.
This was the 30th anniversary of 2131.
Right.
On September 6th.
Right.
1995.
Make your point.
My wife, Emily, was born on September 6th, 1995.
No, it was her birthday. The exact date. Oh my gosh, talk about
the exact date. So here we are talking about the game, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that was the date, because sometimes when teams have an anniversary and they might not be home that day, they'll do it on a different day. They do Lou Gehrig Day on a different day, right? God. Not only is it her birthday, it's her 30th birthday this past Saturday, and she shares it with one of the most important dates in baseball history, September 6th, 1995. My wife and her twin brother were born. And 2131. What?
Jeff, talk about burying the lead. I am no longer a journalist. I called Emily the morning of September 6th.
Yes, you did. You were one of the first people to reach out to her.
Happy birthday, and I never connect. And I knew she was 30. Oh, this is embarrassing. I can't do the show anymore after this, Jeff.
I was going to say, I think we have to retire, because both of us swinging and missing at this. It's unbelievable. Well, I can't even be mad at you for not making the connection. I'm her husband.
Right.
And I didn't make the connection.
Did you just make it just now?
Hand to God. I double-checked 2131. It was September 6th, 1995, as we all know. I did a Google search in the background of this call to make sure I had it right. Yeah, I just figured it out. It just hit me.
All right. Speaking for all men, Jeff, we are the worst. That is terrible that we didn't recognize that. So here,
it's not as bad as what I did, Dad. I had cupcakes for dinner or for dessert because we're gluten and dairy free right now, so I knew we couldn't do a full cake. And I totally forgot to do like a candle blowout situation on Saturday. Just dropped the ball. Totally missed it. And so we did it last night. This would have been Sunday the 7th because I completely airballed on it. I got the dessert. I was prepped for that, but I did not actually make the action and sing happy birthday. So another dad fail, husband fail right there.
Yeah, that's an air ball from the free throw line. That's pretty bad.
And I got her flowers on Friday, home from work, like birthday weekend. So excited. Took her out to breakfast on Saturday morning of her birthday. I totally missed it on the cupcakes.
All right. Here's what clever people do, Jeff. This guy looks up. I don't know who did it, and maybe this is the biggest reach ever, but Jackson Holiday, age 21, hit the home run. And then the game-winning hit was given up by Tanner Scott, who is, how old is he, Jeff?
31.
21, 30.
31.
How about that?
I mean, I think that's a little bit of a reach. However, I do think that there's something there. There's some magic there. Imagine, I was so sad following that game on my phone. They were going to get no hit on 2-1-3-1, Dad. All the fans there to celebrate Cal.
And then the magic of baseball took over, and it went from what would have been a no-hitter into one of the greatest comebacks in baseball history. I don't think there's a way around that. And Jeff, by the way, going back to September 6, 1995, I was there. I wrote the whole thing for Sports Illustrated. Talk about a magical night. I'll just tell you one quick story from it. Bob Elliott, my dear friend, Hall of Fame baseball writer from Canada. He just parachuted in for 2-1-3-1. So he hadn't been there for the amazing build-up and everything else. So he didn't sense the drama, and it was hard to sense the drama because you knew in the fifth inning, this is going to be official, and that's it. So he looks at me, and Bob's the greatest guy in the world. But he says, Tim, I don't feel it. I don't see it. I don't get it. What is the big deal here? I said, Boxer, I don't know. Something's going to happen tonight. I don't know what it is. Check back with me after the fifth inning. And then, of course, Ripken is pushed out of the dugout by Bobby Bonilla, makes this unforgettable 22-minute tour of the stadium. Looking at people who are weeping in the crowd. I mean, weeping. He's pointing to people. He's shaking hands. It's unbelievable. And he comes back, wife and children, big hug and everything else. And after the fifth inning, Bob Elliott, my dear friend, comes up to me with tears in his eyes. And he says, okay, Tim, I get it. That's what that night was all about. And I wish I had been there Saturday night, but if I may, I was where I was supposed to be. It was way more important for me and your sister to take care of our two grandchildren, even though I couldn't watch the game on TV.
All right, Dad, what do you have in the takeaways right now?
All right, sadly, we're going to start with a death. Davey Johnson died at age 82. I believe he should be in the Hall of Fame as a manager. You look at the teams that he took over and what he did with those teams, Dodgers, Reds, Mets, of course, Nationals. I think Davey Johnson deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as a manager. I always loved what a rebel he was. He just did things his way. Remember when we interviewed Ron Darling about the famous July 4th game? Davey got thrown out. then we said, where was Davey during the game? You remember what Ron Darling said? He was gone. He
left. He was out.
No, he was still there, but he wasn't exactly managing from his office because this is how Davey did. Davey also was a great basketball player in high school and a really good golfer. And I like to ask Jeff, the average golfer, the question: if you had a 5-shot lead on Tiger Woods going into 18 at Augusta, could you hold the lead? A 5-shot lead with all the pressure. And I didn't ask Davey that question. I asked him if he could win with a 2-shot lead. And he was so insulted that I asked him that. He said, I would birdie that son of a bitch. That's what he said about the 18th at Augusta. That's who Davey was. I love Davey for that. And, he's also a math major, Jeff, just like your grandfather, Pop, was a PhD in mathematics, MIT undergrad. Davey Johnson had a great mathematical mind. So you would think that he would engage with the metrics more than anyone. And sometimes he did. But he once told me, look, I can watch a player for 5 minutes, and I'll tell you whether he can play or not. 5 minutes. That's what great baseball people can do. I also told you the story, Jeff, that when Davey Johnson met Brooks Robinson for the first time in spring training, mid-60s, whatever, he notices that Brooks Robinson writes and eats with his left hand. And Davey goes, wait a minute, the greatest defensive third baseman of all time writes and eats with his left hand. So Davey told me that he wrote and ate with his left hand for a year to see if it would make him a better second baseman.
Wow.
He said it didn't work, but I had to try it. And as far as being a rebel goes, I'd never heard this story till a few years ago. Bob Clappish, my good baseball friend from New York, what a great writer he is. So Clapp told me a story that it was 6:30 before a 7:00 game. And Clapp is still in the clubhouse. Jeff, in today's day and age, they let you in at 3 and kick you out at 3:45, and that's it. It's 6:30, and he's still in there. And Davey sees a writer in the clubhouse with 30 minutes before the game and says, Clapp, you got to get out of here, man. We've got a team meeting. So then he looks at Clapp and goes, never mind, you can stay. So Bob Clappish, beat writer for the team, stayed and watched a team meeting in the Mets clubhouse because Davey Johnson didn't give a darn that there was a writer in there because he knew what he was doing and it didn't bother him that somebody knew what he was doing. That's who Davey Johnson was, a rebel in every form. And rest in peace. And someday I believe he'll be in the Hall of Fame as a manager.
Yeah, what other takeaways do you have right now?
All right, a couple things, Jeff. Bryce Terang, I've told you multiple times with the Brewers, has really become a good offensive player. I told you what an elite defensive second baseman is. He's a magician out there. But since August the 1st, this was as the other day, he had a 1.146 OPS. That was the highest OPS in the major league since August the 1st. We're talking about 5 weeks here. And it's just so beautiful that the light goes on for somebody offensively, and suddenly he's got it. It's really cool to watch. Also, Jeff, the stolen base thing is really getting interesting. As of the other day, most stolen bases in the second half of the season for any player is Juan Soto with 17. Now, Juan Soto has never stolen 17 bases in a season in his career, and now he's got 17 the second half of the season.
Wow.
Again, Jeff, we know how much easier it is to steal a base now, bigger bases, the engagement rule, you can't throw over all the time. It's easier to steal a base. But do you find it interesting that Juan Soto, who is here mostly to hit, has the most steals of anyone the second half of the season?
I mean, are they just giving him the green light?
Well,
what's the change in there,
well,
And I mean, he clearly can run the bases.
Right. He's a smart player. He knows what he's doing, and guys are picking and choosing a little bit more. Jeff, do you know who Josh Naylor is of the Mariners?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you know
Former Cleveland Guardian.
Yeah. Do you know what he looks like?
Big dude. Big boy.
Dude. How many steals has he got? 24 stolen bases. Unbelievable. Never stolen more than 10 in any season. Now he's got 24. I mean, keep in mind, Joe DiMaggio stole 30 bases in his career. I mean, again, back then on those teams, there was no reason to run. It was a mistake to run because the next guy was going to hit a 3-run homer anyway. But I found that interesting. And Trevor Story, who runs pretty well, the Red Sox shortstop, is 27 for 27 in steals. So he's got 27 steals, no caught stealing. That the 27 ties his career high, but he's never had 27 steals in a season without getting caught. Pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
And last thing, Jeff, we talked about this the other day. Aroldis Chapman through Sunday was up to 17 consecutive hitless appearances. Now, Jeff, let's understand, he's a closer. He's only pitching an inning at a time. So for those 17 in a row, the total is 14 2/3 hitless innings. So he's not throwing a whole lot of innings, but the record is 20 in a row by Randy Choate, who did that as a left-handed reliever in 2011, Randy Choate got his 20 in a row over 8 2/3 innings, just to show you situational relievers don't even pitch a whole inning. They just come in and get it out, and then they get you out. But it's still really impressive. 20 straight appearances without allowing a hit. That's the major league record.
And Dad, did you hear about this too? Connor Wong, when Chapman first joined the Red Sox, Wong said in PitchCom, fastball inside, right? And so Chapman threw a fastball inside. And after that appearance, he went up to Connor Wong and the coaching staff and said, I never really tried to target my fastball. What?
Right.
He just throws so hard that nobody can hit it, so it doesn't matter. So I can't help but believe that he's having arguably one of the best seasons of his career right now at his age, because he has a coaching staff and catchers who are helping him be better and helping him target a fastball. God forbid we decide where to throw a ball. Those poor catchers before saying, I don't know where this fastball is going to go, but he's going to throw it right now.
Right. And he's averaged over 14 strikeouts per 9 innings in his career, Jeff, just letting it go. I remember when David Ross caught him with the Cubs. Of course, the Cubs won the World Series with Aroldis Chapman as their closer. And Rossi used to tell me, and Rossi was a really good defensive catcher, but Chapman threw so hard. He used to say to himself behind the plate, all right, just catch it, okay? You don't have to frame it. You don't have to be ready to throw. Just catch it. That's how hard and that's how violent the stuff that Aroldis Chapman has. And
Dad, do you think that he's making any sort of play for the Cy Young? I mean, we haven't had a closer win a Cy Young since Eric Gagne 20-plus years ago.
Right.
Is there a play for this? If he continues this out through the month of September, no.
No, because Tarek Skubal's in the league, and he's had a Cy Young season. And when we've had Cy Young seasons by starters, they always win. And now we have a new award, Jeff, put together, by the way. The driving force behind it was our dear friend Jason Stark. Next year, we're going to have a reliever of the year in the American League and the National League, voted on by the Baseball Writers Association of America. So that's good. Hey, Randy Choate brought back some memories for me. One of my favorite stories I've ever written was about superstitions. And I probably talked to 30 different players about their superstitions. I was in the Cardinal dugout one day, Cardinal clubhouse one day, and I went to Jason Mott, really good reliever in his day, and talked to him about superstitions. And he looks at me and says, well, if you're going to talk about superstitions, you got to talk to Randy Choate. He's all messed up. That was how he described it. He's all messed up. So I went to Randy Choate and said, tell me about your superstitions. And he looked at me and he said, okay, remember, you asked me, okay? I'm not volunteering this, but you asked me. So among the many things, when he starts to warm up in the bullpen, this is in 2011, I did this interview. He said, if there's any gum wrappers or empty cups anywhere near the mound, I have to go clean them up first because I can't pitch on a cluttered mound. I can't.
Wow.
And if a piece of paper while he's in the game, a wrapper or a piece of paper, anything blows past the mound, he will grab it and put it in his back pocket because he can't bear to have a messy mound when he's working on it. Also, if there are seeds anywhere near him while he's pitching, bullpen or on the mound, he has to pick them up and get rid of them because that's an untidy mound. He also told me when he comes in from the bullpen, if it's down the third base line, he has to enter the game, Jeff, in between the shortstop and the third baseman. He has to run in between them. If the bullpen is down the right field line and he runs into the game, he has to run in between the first baseman and the second baseman. So Daniel Descalso, mischievous second baseman for the Cardinals, once decided to try to get Randy Choate all messed up by moving around and not allowing him to run in between. And Mike Matheny, the manager of the Cardinals, screamed at him, don't do it. You'll screw him up. Don't do it. That's how messed up Randy Choate was. And again, great guy, really good relief pitcher, but he had some things that he had to take care of. And everything he did in his life was even numbered. He wore number 36. Everything he did was even numbered except for the number of warm-up pitches in between innings. 7. That's it. No, not 8, not 6. Has to be 7. So those are our superstitions for the day, courtesy of Randy Cho.
Coming up next here on Is This a Great Game or What, Dad? We're going to get our Quirkjians along with another team, Tim. These are the most popular things that our members of our family who listen to the show love on this date in baseball history. And another team, Tim. What? We're getting double team Tims.
Two team Tims in one day. People seem to enjoy this. I know I enjoy spending all day looking up pointless, arcane numbers, names, everything. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Is this a great game or what, Dad? Let's go into the Quirkjians.
Okay, Jeff, we had 12 saves on Sunday. Do you find that fitting that we had 12 saves on Sunday? Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, in theory, only 15 possible saves if every team is playing.
Right.
That's a lot of saves.
Right. So the last time we had 12 saves in one day was over a year ago. That was on July 10th, 2024. But I was trying to make the point about having a save on Sunday. Not Saturday, not Friday. Does Sunday make sense? Or are you not connecting the dots?
Are you taking me to church right now? Or
It's so stupid. Yeah. I'm glad you didn't get it because it wasn't good enough for you to get.
Well, Dad, I'll tell you this much. I did not have an opportunity to make it to church on Sunday because I was hosting events at the Kennett Square Mushroom Festival. True story. I've done it 4 years in a row. I hosted the fried mushroom eating contest where the winner ate 9 pounds of mushrooms in 10 minutes.
Really?
True story. Yeah. So I wasn't able to go to church, but I did get a voicemail from you, Dad, while you were at church. A butt dial voicemail, and on your phone it'll give you the transcription of what you heard. And this morning from Deuteronomy, this dramatic and climactic part of the book, Moses is speaking to a new generation of Israel born during the 40 years Israel has been. Moses is offering the choice between, this is the voicemail you left me on Sunday, Dad. I got a little bit of the sermon, so I felt like I went to church anyway.
Really?
Yeah, it's a 2-minute long butt dial voicemail. It's okay, Dad. It happens.
Sorry, Jeff. I'm really bad at that.
No, Dad, don't worry. I only bring it up because I love you.
All right. Okay. Dalen Lyle of the Nationals has 8 triples in 252 at bats. He just had a 2 triple game the other day, and he had a 3 triple weekend at Wrigley Field. The last guys, 4 guys in history have ever had a 3 triple weekend at 3 game series at Wrigley Field. That's how hard it is there. The last guy to have 8 triples in his first 250 at bats was Stealin Marte, who had 8 in 222 in 2013. And Stealin Marte, to this day, has the most triples of any active player.
Stealin Marte, every time I hear his name now, I think of one SNL comedian who did his whole thing was talking about how when broadcasters do, like, especially PA announcers will be like, up to the plate, Jeff Kurkjian. But when they have somebody of Latin descent, all of a sudden they become Latin. So you say, up to the plate, from Santo Domingo, Stealin Marte.
Right.
It's a great, great SNL bit, and I absolutely love it because it's so true. As a white guy myself, when I used to do PA announcing at the Frederick Keys, when Eduardo Rodriguez would come in, I would always add a little bit more splash in there, a little bit more.
All right, I love it. I love it, Jeff. All right, so Todd Addington, one of our alert listeners, went to the game September 6th, Cardinals game, and against the Giants, and the game was won on a walk-off hit by Jordan Walker, and the walk-off came off Ryan Walker, the pitcher for the Giants. So we had a walk-off with the pitcher and the hitter both named Walker. And as Todd cleverly pointed out, it would have been better if it had been a walk-off walk, but we still got a walk-off hit from Jordan Walker off of Ryan Walker. Thank you very much for that, Todd. I did not notice that. I love it. I enjoy talking to people about baseball. And when people are reading the box scores, much like I am every day, that's a shared interest. I love that stuff, but I don't think anyone looked this up, but I did, because our buddy Steve Sparks told us last week they had another palindrome in the attendance. It was 133. So I looked him up. He's had the Astros have had 4 palindromic attendances this year, and Steve Sparks points it out every single time. Sounds like a lot to me, doesn't it, Jeff?
It does, but Steve Sparks, his seam head mind is always on the move, always looking for something. He's the best.
What an understatement. When he asked us earlier this year after we had him on, he was so funny. He goes, I just want to be a seam head someday. And we said, someday? You've been a seam head for years. You're the only one that looks up this stuff. So, all right, Jeff, how much I love to look at line scores and see phone numbers. I saw a couple of them this week, which I'm not even going to tell you which one, but it's a real bad habit of mine. When you see a 510 area code, like 5 in the first, 1 in the second, 0 in the third, you pay attention. And Jeff Seibold, a big Brewers fan, pointed out to me that the Brewers got 4 in the first, 1 in the second, 4 in the third. So
414?
414, that's Milwaukee's area code. Now, it didn't turn out to be a phone number, but he just wanted to alert me that the Brewers had a 414 to start the game. I love stuff like that. I love it way too much, I acknowledge.
Yeah, you and Peter Gammons are constantly always tracking this, right?
Well, Peter
isn't he the one who kind of introduced you to it?
Yeah, and Peter called one day and got a warehouse, like a working number at a warehouse for like some 617 number, which was the Boston area code, which I love so much.
Of course.
All right, last thing, Jeff, we had Sunday, we had the Max Fried against Max Scherzer. They were the pitchers of record in the game between the Blue Jays and the Yankees. So this is fairly obvious for a team, Tim. What is it?
Are you going to do the all Max team?
Of course.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, well, Max Stassi is the catcher. Max Muncy is the first baseman. Of course, he's played second and mostly third now. Max Bishop from a million years ago is the second baseman. Max Alvis, who I grew up watching when he played for the Indians, is the third baseman. Max Moroff is our shortstop. Max Carey, Hall of Famer, is one outfielder. Max Venable, who I grew up watching on the Giants when I was hopelessly devoted to the Giants as a teenager. And his son, of course, is Will Venable, who's the manager of the White Sox. And Max Kepler, who plays for the
Phillies,
is our third outfielder. And Max Scherzer is our right-handed pitcher, and Max Fried is our left-handed pitcher. I think this is fair to say Max Scherzer is the greatest Max ever. Again, Max Carey's in the Hall of Fame, but Max Scherzer is going to the Hall of Fame. So it's possible that 2 of the greatest Maxes of all time were the pitchers of record Sunday when the Blue Jays played the Yankees at Yankee Stadium.
All right, Dad, what do you have for on this date in baseball history?
On this date, September 9th, 1948, Rex Barney pitched a no-hitter for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And I bring that up because Rex became one of my dear friends as the public address voice of the Baltimore Orioles. He was a character of all characters. Give that fan a contract. Give that fan an error. Mac, I'm telling you, Rex was one of my favorite people ever. And again, had a great arm. Jeff threw really hard. And then, sadly, he got the yips and really never recovered and couldn't throw a strike anymore. He went to see psychiatrists. He tried everything. He even put an ad in a newspaper saying, someone, please help me, because it got in his head. And Rex Barney really never quite recovered from getting the yips. Just speaking again to the degree of difficulty and the mental part of baseball, which is so difficult to get through. Okay, on this date in 1965, Sandy Koufax pitched a perfect game, no walks, 14 strikeouts. Certainly, maybe the greatest game ever pitched. It's hard to beat perfect game with 14 strikeouts. But the interesting part is Bob Henley of the Cubs pitched in that game, and he pitched a one-hitter, Jeff. He pitched a complete game, one hitter, 8 innings, and he lost 1-0. He threw 76 pitches in that game. So they played a 9-inning game at Dodger Stadium, and Koufax pitched a perfect game, and there was 1 hit total in the game.
That is so sad because you threw arguably probably his best outing of the season.
Maybe of his career. Yeah.
Maybe of his career. And you were just overshadowed by maybe the greatest game ever pitched of all time.
Right.
That's really sad.
By one of the greatest pitchers ever. So, all right. This date in 1992, Robin Yount got his 3,000th hit. By the way, I really have trouble saying 3,000. I always say hit number 3,000.
I've
because
noticed.
3,000th hit. Can you say that?
No. And I don't 3,000th.
Right.
It's hard. You have to overemphasize it. I hate that word.
Right. I'm not very...
3,000th, and you know my least favorite word in the world, brewery.
Brewery,
oh,
right.
Gosh, I want to throw up.
All right, Jeff.
It makes me sick.
All right, so Robin Yount was, played major league shortstop every day at age 18. One of the great athletes ever. And Dan Plesac told me a story years ago about, he was a teammate with Robin Yount. Robin Yount had a bruise on the inside of his thigh that was so gruesome. Dan Plesac couldn't even look at it. And they're in the outfield. And he goes up to Robin Yount and he says, "Are you playing today with that injury?" And Robin Yount goes, "Yes, of course I'm playing today with that injury." So Plesac says, "Robin, why are you playing?" And he said, "Dan, do you remember when you faked being sick in the 3rd grade and you got away with it? You remember?" And Dan Plesac goes, "Yeah, I remember it." He goes, Robin Yount goes, "You remember how much easier it was getting away with it the second time because you got away with it the first time?" And Plesac goes, "Yeah, it was even easier the second time." Yount looked at his teammate and said, "Then don't ever do it the first time." So the first time you acknowledge this hurts too much for me to play, it's going to be easier to acknowledge that the second time.
Very
so
true.
Don't do it the first time. Does that tell you who Robin Yount is, Jeff?
It's so fitting. I mean, it's so perfect. And it's great for normal people like us, right? If you think you can get by calling out sick to work when you're not really sick,
right?
If you do it once, you're going to think you can get away with it all the time, not just twice, but 100 times. And then not good. Not a good lesson for life.
Right. Jeff, your second colonoscopy will be much easier than your first one because you'll know what to deal with, correct?
Yeah, I guess so. Thanks for bringing such an unpleasant subject up again. I'm starving over here. I'm so hungry. I'm so low energy. But hopefully on the Thursday episode, obviously I'll be back and better than ever. So we'll be able to handle that.
All right. On this date in 2007, Ricky Weeks, J.J. Hardy, and Ryan Braun led off a game. First 3 hitters in the game for the Brewers with a home run. 3rd time in Major League history that the first 3 batters had hit a home run in order to start a game. And the interesting part is J.J. Hardy did it again, only he did it while he was a member of the Orioles. So I just love that he was a part of that in 2 different teams. It's been done a bunch of times now, but when Hardy and Weeks and Braun did it in 2007, it was only the 3rd time in Major League history. First time, of course, was Marvell Wynn, Tony Gwynn, and John Kruk, which I always thought the Wynn, Gwynn, Kruk was just beautiful. So
perfect.
All right. Let's see. On this date in 1959, Tom Foley was born. Tom Foley was a pretty good major league infielder who could do a lot of things and became a really good coach who I got very close to over the years as a coach, especially with the Tampa Bay Rays. What I always found interesting with him was when he was a coach with the Rays, I found out through him that he's a right-handed player, Jeff, shortstop, second baseman. He played quarterback in high school, and he threw a football with his left hand. So here we have a right-handed baseball player who played quarterback in high school, and he threw a football with his left hand. I've never understood how it's a very similar motion, Jeff. And on the same Tampa Bay team, the first baseman, Travis Lee, a left-handed thrower in baseball, played quarterback in high school, and he threw a football with his right hand. So on the same team, we had two guys who played quarterback in high school, but used the other hand to throw than the one they throw a baseball with. And if that's not amazing enough, Tom Foley also played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And on that team was a pitcher named Steve Cook, who was a left-handed pitcher. And what did he do, Jeff, in high school?
Quarterback with the right hand?
Yes.
Of
So
course.
Tom Foley has been part of this bizarre, what's it called?
String of ambidexterity?
Yes, yes. I couldn't even think of it. Yes. And Jim Morrison, former major leaguer, said he was amphibious. He got ambidexterity. and yeah, so we used to joke that he could throw with both hands underwater, amphibious. Yes. So I love that about Tom Foley. And the last thing, Todd Zeile, on this date in 1965, was born. Now, Todd Zeile was a really good major league player for a long time. He had a bunch of home runs. And I always got a kick out of the fact that he used to be a catcher. And one day he caught Dan Quisenberry. So what's that, Jeff? You got, figure it out. Todd Zeile caught Dan Quisenberry. QZ. So it took many, many, many more years when Barry Zito pitched to some guy, I forget his name, not important. His name began with a Q, but the last time that had happened was when a Q, Dan Quisenberry, threw to a Z, Todd Zeile. Those are the things I pay attention to. Again, the reason I have nothing else to do with my life. And let's quiz you, Jeff. Todd Zeile hit 253 homers in his career. So at one point, what was the distinction of the 253 since replaced by a guest of ours last year?
He has the most home runs with the last name Z until Ryan Zimmerman.
Jeff, you are really getting good at this. I am so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Dad. Well, tomorrow on the podcast, we have a very special guest. Jim Abbott is going to be joining us. We had him as a little sneak preview last week, celebrating the anniversary of his no-hitter for the New York Yankees. And now we have 40 minutes of talking with him that was so inspirational and so fantastic. It was I loved our conversation with him.
Jeff, inspirational doesn't do it justice. I mean, we both had tears in our eyes at the end of that podcast, and we laughed through most of it because Jim Abbott has a great sense of humor. And so when anyone can make you think and he can make you laugh and can make you cry all in one interview, that's what we got from Jim Abbott. So in his honor, I decided to, let's see if you can figure out what the team Tim is with Jim Abbott. I mean, I'm giving you no clue here, Jeff, and we're not going to go Jims or Abbotts or, alphabets or anything else. What was one of the distinctions we brought up about Jim Abbott that still amazes me to this day? What did he not do in his major league career?
Well, okay, right off the bat, I don't think you're thinking about a full team of players that only had one hand, because I don't think you can field that full team.
No.
What did he not do in his career? He did not play in the minor leagues?
Hello.
All right. Jeff, yeah, we found that out.
Jeff, you're getting so good at this, Jeff. Someday, Jeff, I'm going to be really good at country music. All right. I've already gotten over the country Western music thing, but I'm going to be just as good in country music someday as you are in baseball, because you're getting better every day. So these are the guys I came up with who never spent a day in the minor leagues. Okay. Wow. John Olerud is our first baseman.
Wow.
Frankie Frisch, whose birthday is today. Frankie Frisch, Gas House Gang, million years ago, highest career batting average of any switch hitter in Major League history. I believe it's 317. Bob Horner is our third baseman. And our dear friend Val Vandeventer, who played baseball with Uncle Matt at Catholic U, got drafted 1978, the same year that Bob Horner did. So the Braves brought all of their draft choices to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium to take batting practice, to know this is the final destination. And Val, great guy, great throwing arm. Val told me that he's looking around and he said every pitch that Bob Horner swung at was a home run in batting practice. And he kept looking at the other guys who were all drafted the same year and said, he's so much better than us. How can this be? Well, Bob Horner went to Arizona State, was unbelievably strong, short arms, really powerful, hit 4 homers in a major league game. But I just thought that was really cool that another draft choice that year looked at Bob Horner and go, oh my gosh, we got drafted the same year as that guy did. So cool. All right, the shortstop is Ernie Banks, and there's a bit of Ernie Banks played in the Negro Leagues, but he never played in the minor leagues. So there's a difference there, but technically correct. Al Kaline, of course, won a batting title at age 20. And what did I tell you once about Al Kaline, Jeff? What a great basketball player he was. Remember what I told you? What did he tell me once?
I can't remember. You're going to have to remind me.
He told me he was a better basketball player in high school than he was a baseball player. And he won a batting title at age 20 and never played in the minor leagues. Dave Winfield never played in the minor leagues.
Wow.
Mel Ott never played in the minor leagues. Hall of Famer. Though both those guys are Hall of Famers. And of course, Jim Abbott did not. Catfish Hunter didn't. A bunch of pitchers, including Bob Feller and Sandy Koufax, never played in the minor leagues. Our catcher, and I must say, if someone can help me on this, I can really use some help, because I could not find a catcher who never played in the minor leagues. Now, I did find Brian Milner, who I remember well, coming up with the Blue Jays. He went straight to the major leagues, but struggled for a while and went back to the minor leagues, I think, for a really long time and didn't have much of a major league career. But if any of our listeners can find a catcher who never played in the minor leagues, I'd sure like to know that, because I couldn't find him.
Well, Dad, tomorrow, straight to the big leagues, Jim Abbott is going to be joining our podcast. It's going to inspire you. It's going to make you smile. It might make you cry. And special shout outs to some members of our family in that interview.
And Jeff, let me just say one more time, the most underplayed story in all the years that I've covered baseball is how good Jim Abbott was, playing his entire career, of course, without his right hand. I still don't think people appreciate how he was able to do that. It's just incredible. And yet, Jeff, as you know, instead of him saying, God, look how great I was, he never, ever looked at it as a disability. He just said, I'm going to figure this out. And he did. And that's what's so inspirational about his story. And we have him tomorrow.
Wait until you hear what his dad had to say about
my goodness,
what you
I'm
were
going to
talking
cry
about.
again, just thinking about what his father said. So good.
Thank you so much for listening. Don't miss the interview tomorrow with Jim Abbott. And as always, thank you for being a part of our family.